Before we wander on into the episode, I just want to make sure that everyone goes out there and hits up the YouTube, check out the Spotify, check out Apple, wherever you're listening or watching to this podcast, is to go down, like it, subscribe, hit the bell if it's YouTube. Make sure you're getting those reminders. We do put these out every week. So make sure you do all that. It helps us out. And in the long run, we can make better things. So again, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If life really is a simulation, the simulation was on point up there at the chalet. Because I mean, the views were spectacular.
That was the A team wing designers, huh?
Yeah. They really got the coding done well.
We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
Clink.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? How are we doing? It's another wonderful Wednesday here with the Wandering Ways crew. It is your boy, Reverend Marcus, alongside, as per usual, the guy. He reigns somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. I think that is what it is. I don't know. They call him the Rock of the Rockies. The Bill and Billings. It is Ranger Zach.
Rangers.
How we doing?
The Bill and Billings. I love it. Hey, can't complain. It's windy and fucking cold, but that's winter out here in Montana. That's what it's like, at least out here on the eastern front. Kind of close to the Rocky Mountains. Billings, Park City, kind of close by, 30 miles away, if not less. I call that, when you look at the Yellowstone River, you look at the mighty Yellowstone River and what it is. That right there, that Park City where the hills, the Columbus Hills kind of open up. That right there is where the Yellowstone River goes from a mountain river to a plains river. It slows way the fuck down and it gets all zigzaggy. It just does its thing. So yeah, I don't know if you classify Billings in the Rockies. We're definitely a gateway to the Rockies. You can get there to Red Lodge. You can get to the, Paradise Valley pretty easy. The Crazies, the Snowies, all the fun ones.
To me, Billings is more of the gateway to flat.
If you go one way, the other way,
that's why to me, that's why I made sure to tell you that, or say, to me, it's the gateway to just flat plains, because where I am moving, when I hit Billings, we're now hitting flatlands. But if I was, in Missouri, I don't know why I'd want to be in Missouri, but if I was in Missouri, yeah, it would be the gateway to the Rockies.
Yeah, I feel you. I get what you're saying. See, that's where we need that road trip I always talk about, where it's like we got to spend 10 days in the state of Montana, hitting all the different parks and state parks throughout like the eastern half and the western half, and just give you that true taste of what it means to be.
No, the next true road trip, if I were to do a true road trip where you're doing just covering a bunch of distance, bunch of places type deal, I would, and I think you can get a long ways just because that's how it is. I'd make every stop a hot springs. I think you could get West Coast to East Coast, and you could do it.
I mean, I know Montana has a map of the hot springs. I know there's each state has their maps. Yeah, you just gotta find the right one where it's
and then you just gotta figure out the route you're gonna take, and every night you have to stay in the hot springs.
I'm about it.
Oh, I know. I think it'd be the most stressful yet relaxing trip out there.
Well, yeah.
Well, every trip's stressful, because it's
right,
you got all the planning, you're going through. So it's there's that stressful part because you're just on a trip. And I'm not saying the stress is always bad, and then it'd be the most relaxing because every night you just chill in the hot springs.
And then you just pass out. Like I get like to be fair, like some of the best hot springs I have are, you have some of the best sleep right after.
Yeah,
Like I
there's
did.
a reason for why you sleep way better after getting in like hot showers or hot springs or hot tubs or all that things. And surprisingly, it's actually not because you get warmer from the hot tub, hot springs, whatever. It's because when you get out, you get colder. Your body temperature drops. And that's that drop in temp that makes you all drowsy and fall asleep easier because you actually sleep better if you're a little cold.
Oh, fun fact, fun fact. I did do when we went to Yellowstone Hot Springs, the last time with Thea, I did do the polar plunge that they have.
Yeah, I
So
remember you talking about it.
you sit in the one, you do the walk, you jump in the cold, and it's refreshing. Like when we did the one there in Ashland, man, like getting in that sauna and then jumping right back into the pool after that. Oh, phenomenal feeling.
100%. That I went to the one in here in Ashland a couple of weeks ago, and I went at a great time. I went at a great time for people watching. I really did. Because I'm in the steam room. And I just went by myself. I did heavy workout and I was like, oh, it sounds really nice. Let's go. So I'm in the steam room and there's a lot of people in the steam room. And actually we're like it's like dark. So it's just like lights and stuff. So in the steam room you can't see shit. And this guy sitting next to me, he starts like kind of rubbing himself, kind of just like leaning forward and back. He's like, the shrooms are kicking it. Just starts going real touchy feely. I was like, because they want you to be quiet at the one here in Jacksonville. So I'm actually trying not to laugh out loud because this guy's
Right.
just being crazy.
That's
But and
hey,
that was just part of it. I mean, when you're in the like hot tub part of the hot springs, there was a lot of couples at that time. And man, oh man, thank God it was a little dark because I think I would have seen some things that, most of the time you got to pay-per-view for.
yeah, that's I do have that issue when it does come to hot springs. You do get like the hippies that like want to like make love in the hot springs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I get it, some of the natural ones, it's cute and all, but when it comes to like the public ones, especially how small that tub is there in
Yeah,
yeah, not
yeah,
about it.
yeah. It was, it was just like peak people watching. It was, it was fantastic.
I can imagine. I mean, that's like hippie, 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 hippie that I've ever seen in my life kind of place.
Oh, 100%. And I love it. I love it. But no, we're not here. We're not here to talk hippies. We're not here to talk hot springs. Well, actually, maybe. I don't know. You have to wait and see. Maybe there'll be a little bit more hot spring talk. But no, we are here uh today because it's been a hot minute since we've done our top five favorite national parks. It's been 2 years. Two
2 years.
years.
Jan
It's like,
6, 2021, episode 19, episode 20. OG shit, as they say.
yeah, it's a doozy. It's way, way, way back in the old archives. Um, so we are here. We're here to talk and share. And we'll give you a refresher on what ours were, and we'll see if there's any differences. Surprisingly, there are some differences. Biggest one being I excluded two parks on my list this time that if I kept the same criteria as last time would still make the top 5, but we're just keeping this in the United States of America, those parks. Um, and so Banff and Jasper, which were in my top 5 2 years ago, those would still be in my top 5 now, but I'm not including them this time because I'm not leaving the United States. So no Banff, no Jasper, but no, all my Banff and Jasper fans, they're still near and dear to my heart.
No, I think that's fair. I think, when we did this, we did North American parks. They were spread out over 2 episodes. Honestly, I listened back because I was curious at what rankings we had. Because I was like, oh, I'm curious. Like, I ranked my new one. How does it line up? And it's kind of interesting how they line up when you compare them. Because it's interesting, like what changes and what doesn't change in those realities. Um, I'm excited to hear because you getting rid of 2 big parks like that, you had Jasper at number 2. Like that opens it up. And I'm interested. There's one park in particular that I look on your list that I'm curious where it falls. Because I know it's there. So I'm interested to see how that goes in the episode. I'll save that one for when you announce it. My list is kind of interesting, just I'll talk about it as we kind of go along as well, but it's exciting shit, my guy. Like it's fun to talk about this, talk about our top 5s, our top 5 favorite parks. This is national parks in the USA. It's a true top 5 because you'll probably get all 5 over this rather than the 2 episodes. Again, I said, it was for looking back in the archives, this is one of our better episodes. So if you want to listen to what we had to say about some of these parks and some other parks, because we're not talking about them all. If you are a Banff and Jasper fan, definitely go check that out because Mark shows his love.
100%, 100%. Yeah. So, um, anyways, we're gonna go in. We'll start it off. Coming in number 5. I think I'll go first this time. I think you went first last time, so I'll go first. I went first last time.
I listened, but go ahead, keep it going.
Oh, okay. Never mind. No. If you went, I wanted to switch it up because most of the time I go first, so or
No,
I go
keep going.
second. So
You go first.
no.
You go first.
All
I
right.
want
All right.
I want to hear it
All
because
right.
you're number
No.
5 last time. Your number 5 last time was the Redwoods.
Yeah. Number 5 last time was the Redwoods. This time it's not. It is a park that actually is trending downward when you look at my top 5 from last time. And we're hitting good old Zion National Park there in southern Utah, one of the mighty Utah 5. Um, for me, Zion, it's still awesome. It's still beautiful. It's a great place to go. I think why it's dropped on my list is Angel's Landing, and how much people are going and how dangerous of a spot Angel's Landing has become, and just people ruining that park. So I think that's kind of the main gist of why it's dropped. It's still, there are a lot. I'd like to kind of go back, but I think I'd like to check out the BLM land that surrounds it, because rumor is there's a campsite that overlooks the canyon, but it's BLM land, and I think it would be cool to camp in that campsite.
Right. Zion actually was my number 3 as well, and it actually fell completely out of the top 5. It is close up there, but when I look at Zion with you, like as you say, like one of the reasons it's falling back to me is like I don't necessarily need to go back there because I've been there a couple times. I've done some pretty major hikes there. I do want to do the Narrows, so don't get me wrong. I do want to go back. I want to do the Narrows. That BLM land sounds promising, but there's just some other ventures that are just a little bit higher. And when you're truly ranking like top 5, there's just some other places that I feel like fit that, of who I've become in the last 2 years since we last talked about this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you.
I get you. Let's talk about Zion. You like it? Why? Why you like Zion?
I mean, when you do make it to Angel's Landing and you get that view looking down that canyon, that's hard to beat. That is really, that is like when it comes to views, like that is like premier top tier views of either way. Look up or down the canyon, pick away. It's like it's a legit view. So that's really, and Narrows is dope as shit. If you get the chance to do Narrows, it's such a dope ass hike. Like it's a tough one to beat. Like it has when you talk about heavy hitter hikes, Zion's got the heavy hitter hikes where you're like, damn, like you're going because of like these hikes. You're not going because of like, yeah, well, you're going for the views and the beauty, but like those hikes, it's tough to beat. Like those are probably honestly some of the best hikes out there in the country.
Right. And you're concentrated right in that canyon, that Zion kind of canyon that the park is in. And to me, that's what makes it cool. Cause like you're right, like there's so very few of those places. And that's when you talk about your top five, each one of these places has that kind of element or factor of like, well, yeah, like it's one of those places. It has those things to do. And you're right, like Angel's Landing, like overcrowded. I'm glad we did it when we did it. Because that was one with Tyler I was really trying to get to do with him. And don't get me wrong, if he said called me tomorrow and said, hey man, down in May on this weekend I got a permit, like yeah, I'm down to go. But in reality, it's like I have done it. I am glad I've done it. I got different ones. That's why it fell out of mine, but it's still up there. Like I like Utah. I like the desert. I want to go back.
Yeah.
I will, but it's not high priority and it's not top five for me. But
100%. What's yours? What's your new number five?
what cracked mine, and I had Canyonlands before, and kind of the same reason Canyonlands fell out as Zion is just I really haven't spent the time there. So for it to be like my top five favorites, I would like to spend like yes, I want to go back there. I want to see time, but the redwoods and like last year when you and I went down there to Crescent City and did that little trip, and then Matt trip down there, the trip with my parents, like all that just kind of Tyler, you and I going down there, just the more and more going back to the redwoods. I see how cool it is of a place, how unique it is of a place. I want to spend more time there for sure. So
For
I love.
sure.
I know you like.
The redwoods are they're pretty dope, not gonna lie. That's a good one to put in your top five there. Um Moving on. Again, this is my number four. My number four, it's a new one to the list. Again, I do want to make the disclaimer, no Banff Jasper. I think Banff and Jasper would probably make both Zion and Yellowstone my number four. I spoiled it. Just trying to set it up real cool and I screwed it up. But no, Yellowstone's my number four. Banff and Jasper would probably knock these two out um, of the top five. But I mean, Yellowstone, it's your classic park. It really it's a standard when it comes to like the park. It's got everything in it that you would want. It's massive, so you can see a lot of shit. You can see a lot of cool shit. You got the animals, you got great views. I think if I end up going back to Yellowstone, I almost have to get into a deeper hike. I can't just like do the smaller. I think I gotta get minimum 6 miles in me if I go back to a Yellowstone.
And there's a spot. There's two spots that I have found in that park that I think would fit that criteria for you. One is that Slough Creek up there in the Lamar Valley. It has like a nice hike, a backcountry hike you can do, and it is very bear country prevalent. So you do want to be careful. You want to have the bear spray, be smart, be loud, be noisy, but it has some of the best fishing in the world back there, apparently.
Oh,
I think that would be kind of cool. And then I found a valley, and I'm not going to tell you where this valley is because I don't want anyone looking it up. Because I think it is super remote. It is not in the park, but is near the park. It's a super remote valley where there's no people, there's no roads, there's no nothing. And I'm just like, if you could hike in there, I'm sure you could see some cool shit.
for
So,
sure. I can imagine there's probably anything that can get pretty remote. There's gonna be some cool shit going on in there.
right. No, I think that's a place in Yellowstone. And Yellowstone does make my list. We'll talk about that a lot later, but I'm glad it makes your list. I was curious because yeah, it's one that didn't make your list. But it is. I mean, it is one of those parks. It is very touristy. You will run into people. You
Yeah.
will. Um,
It,
yeah,
yep. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot there's and rightfully so that a lot of people go to this park for sure. Anyways, moving on. What is Ranger Zach's number 4?
my number four. You asked. Well, my number four actually stayed the same. It was the
Oh,
it was the Grand Canyon, and I mean, you said it yourself when you first saw it, man. Pull the car over. You know what I
yes.
mean? Like it is spectacular. It is one of those things that you see for the first time that, like, wow, like I want to keep looking at it. I want to keep studying it, seeing it, looking at the layers. I want to go hike down into it more. I want to stay at the lodge. I want to see sunrise, sunset, like all those things that you just like. I want to keep going back there. I want to keep doing it. I want to keep seeing it. I want to keep, go back to see Horseshoe Bend, go back, try that walkway over the Grand Canyon, do all the stuff that there is to offer. Maybe do a helicopter ride into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I mean the Grand Canyon is pretty freaking sweet. Yeah, that moment when we got into the park, that's one of those where whenever people ask me about like the Grand Canyon, I tell them that story because it's like, going in, we're like, oh, let's just get to the visitor center first, and then you're like, oh yeah, because I mean it's a canyon, it's just kind of it's gonna be cool, but and then you go and you get like even just a little peek, and you're like, oh, nah, pull this puppy over, we gotta check it out now because it's different. Pictures don't do it justice.
Well, and what was interesting too, I think, is how we decided to enter the park, right? We came in through the or the east entrance, the northeast
Mhm.
entrance, or whatever they call it.
Yeah, well, we were on the south part of the South Rim.
Right. No, yeah, we were on the south rim, but that east entrance to the south rim, because we drove that highway that day and we said we'll come in here and we'll drop down and go to our campsite. And I think that's a really cool way to experience the Grand Canyon too, coming in that way for the first time like that, because of just how the way it built up as well. Uh,
Mhm.
because a lot of people they do come through the Kayenta, I think is the name of the town, or that
Yeah,
town.
because there's that town right there outside it.
Right, right. And that town is the one that we ate at the McDonald's. Good McDonald's. We've eaten at a lot of national park McDonald's like that, right on the border towns.
Mhm.
I've noticed like Rocky Mountain. I think we've done Olympic. I think we've done.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a
It's just fun.
pinch, you're moving quick,
Oh, I know.
it's easy. I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's though.
I know you're not, and it's funny because it's just like I remember that there. But no, Grand Canyon it's a good top four, top five. I think it's one of those that'll hang around there. So for sure.
I could see it. I could see it.
The Wild West is full of dangers, from snakes to bears. The outdoorsman must be prepared. That is why when you experience rivers like the San Juan or the Yellowstone, you must bring a blue ribbon net. Handcrafted and biodegradable, these classic wooden fishing nets are all you need while on the river. Make sure to use code RUGAROO10 when checking out at Blue Ribbon Nets. Again, the code is RUGAROO10. RUGARU10. In need of LED lights for your vehicle? Look no further than our friends at Oxteo, keeping our vehicles well lit while on the road while looking for Bigfoot. Make sure to use code RUGARU, RUGARU, on your next set of LED lights. Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You know, you use the code Wandering Ways, WANDERING and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount.
All right, so I mean, all of these, there's a common theme across my top five and your top five. I know this for sure. Each one of these parks is full of some cool shit. And speaking of, it's time for my favorite segment. This week I got a picture and I got a video. And I was just looking at the video right before we got on, and there's a little caption on it. I didn't even notice the caption, but it's some pretty cool news to go with some cool shit. So it will be worth it when we get to it, when we show it. So first one, it's a doozy of a picture. It's an absolute beaut of a picture. This one, it's Patagonia in autumn. Patagonia is on my bucket list of places to go. Just hands down.
Yeah, we need to, you know, after this Iceland trip, I think Patagonia is kind of like one of the next ones on the list.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do another wish list episode to see what lines up when it comes to the wish lists.
Can you get a job that, like, low key, if I could pay you what you make to just be the Wandering Ways guy, and that would be your title, the Wandering Ways guy? You think we can make that happen and just travel the world?
I mean, I would probably travel the world for what I make now. That's not hard.
That's what I mean. Like, if we could get some sponsors to say, hey, yes, we'll go to Patagonia, we'll go to Chile, we'll go to these places, pay Mark what he makes, and then you're there. Then you don't have to worry about taking a Tuesday off in July.
Yeah. But no, this picture for people that are just listening, it's a picture of Patagonia in autumn. You see the mountains, the river, is a very well done photograph. They did a fabulous job with it. Great colors, shadowing, lighting, all that great stuff. Moving on to the next one, the video. It's a National Geographic one. It's just a bunch of bears. Fun fact, the one that we're looking, it's a bunch of cuts, but there's the part where the bears are next to the falls and there's like all the fish jumping like crazy amount. I've actually been to that spot. This spot that's on right now, that's in Katmai National Park. But here's the cool news part of the cool shit in nature, and it's on this caption, and it has to do if you don't follow along, which I don't blame you if you don't follow along for this. It's not up everyone's cup of tea, but I'm going to read it for you. On January 31st, the EPA moved to conserve Alaska's Bristol Bay under the Clean Water Act, protecting one of the world's most productive wild salmon habitats from a proposed open pit copper and gold mine called Pebble Mine. After decades of controversy over the mine, the decision is considered a win for the environment, for the bay's salmon fishing industry, and the region's many Alaskan Native communities who depend on salmon for subsistence. It also means the brown bears of the Alaskan Peninsula, which gather in largest numbers seen anywhere on Earth, now have their habitat protected too. Absolutely awesome news. I have been sharing it on my Instagram, the news for it. I had no idea that this video was also sharing that news when I picked it out. I just thought it was cool seeing the fish and the bears. But it's even cooler because it's sharing that information. I always told people when it came to going and sitting in a picket line and actually protesting, it would be against this Pebble Mine. I'd tell many and many of people that because how devastating that mine would have been for that environment.
That's crazy. I've heard you've been hearing about that for a long time.
For real. For real, for real, for real. Anyways, that's our cool shit in nature this week. We're gonna jump on. We're gonna swim on back. We're gonna wander our way back to our top 5. We're gonna hit it with my number 3. It's a new one in the group. Had never before seen the top 5. I think I've just gained a great more appreciation for this park. I keep kind of low key trying to figure a way to get back there because there's just more stuff to do, and it's just cool as hell. But sitting at number 3 is Olympic National Park.
You motherfucker. Sorry for the children listening, but my number 3, also joining my list and kicking Zion out, wasn't there before, is Olympic at number 3.
I
No,
know we did not share these lists with each other beforehand.
if you couldn't tell. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. No, I mean, yeah. It's exactly, it keeps climbing. It's every time you go there, you're like, I want more.
Yeah.
You find something else that you're like, oh, there's a bike trail here. Oh, there's a hot springs. Oh, there's a
Yeah.
this I can do. Oh, it's close to Seattle. I can go do that for the weekend and then jump over there and come back down to Oregon that way. And
Yeah, there's a lot of variety for this park.
freaking Bigfoot
There's
lives there.
100% good old Bigfoot's there. Um, there's just cool stuff. I mean, the whole rainforest is legit. The Soul Duck, that area is also cool as hell. Hurricane Ridge, super cool. Those are the only places I've been. I know that there's even cooler stuff. The Enchanted Valley, I really want to get in there. That would be super, super cool to get in and camp, do some backcountry into the Enchanted Valley there. That'd be like really, really legit.
Well, and don't they say like the largest concentration of black bears in the like area is in that like Hoh Rainforest, Enchanted Valley area in this part, like
Yeah, I think in the Enchanted Valley, because the
I,
Enchanted Valley is a little bit south of the Hoh.
right in that, yes, that area, that, yeah, but I do want to, like, how cool would it to be see a fucking black bear walking around in that stuff, that just
Yeah.
wooded, mossy, kind of like what you got behind you, just the tree's not as big.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. You know, there's a lot of biodensity in this park. And so I think that's what kind of makes it cool. It's one of the few kind of parks that I think is equally as awesome, if not better, when it's raining, when it's very wet. You know,
Agreed.
I got the pleasure of spending kind of a weekend up there by myself, kind of in, and I saw some real cool things, you know, when I did it and I was there by myself. I had a lot of rain too. And, you know, so it was all worth it. That and more. It's just it's Olympic. There's something magical about it.
No, there really is. Me and Matt were, we went last year for the Bigfoot conference and really had a good time and checked it out. And it rained on us. It's beautiful in the rain, like you say. It's just that other, it adds like another element. Matt wasn't really prepared and wanting to hike around. He was wanting to drive around and go to places, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of cool stuff around there. Um, it was an interesting trip, kind of spur of the moment, not really a purpose behind it, other than going to that Bigfoot conference. And it really, that turned out to be kind of not a dud. It was just their first one, so we were one of 5 vendors. And it was cool, something to try, something to do. But it rained on us and my tent got super soaked and I was over it. And I was just like, Matt, let's just call it early. You can head home early. I can head home early and we can figure this out another time. Because there's just some of those trips like that you got to do that on. But it also left me wanting more because it's like, if I come up here again, I want to be more prepared. And I want, like, if I'm going to camp in the Olympics and it's raining, I want a tent that has a rain tarp. I don't have a good rain tarp on my tent.
Mm.
So all the above, like I just need to figure out that it.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got to be prepared for the rain. If you're not prepared for the rain really sucks. But if you're prepared for the rain can really add something to it.
Right. I mean, it's beautiful.
It
Olympics
is.
beautiful. And if you can get Hurricane Ridge or even that Pyramid Peak on a good clear day, man, that's beautiful.
It is. It is. It is. It is. Um, well, since we happen to share our number three, again, last time we shared our number three parks, and this time we're sharing our number three parks.
Well, we both
Um,
had Zion, and now we both switched it to Olympic. Yeah.
yeah. So that's ironic. But you know, that just proves why you know, we work well together. Um, moving on to number two on my list. Number two, it's a banger of a park. I near and dear to my heart. I love this park. It is just, there's something special about it. Um, been fortunate enough to be in it a lot. And I'm gonna go number two is Glacier National Park.
Interesting. Interesting. It's also my number two,
Yeah,
but it was your number one.
it was. It was my number one last time. It bumped. I mean, Glacier's awesome. It really is awesome. You know, there's something special to it. The chalet was dope as fuck. I there's I still you know, if life really is a simulation, the simulation was on point up there at the chalet, because I mean the views were spectacular.
That was the A team in designers, huh?
Yeah, they really got the coding done well up there.
That was the good the day crew, not the night shift.
Yeah, but yeah,
No, but like you're absolutely that right. That chalet, and I know Matt Buddy and Tyler, it hasn't quite clicked in their heads yet. I know for sure. And because it really hasn't even quite clicked in mine. But when's the next time we will really do something like that?
oh, I know, for real.
It's the chalet, if you get the chance to do a chalet in Glacier, this is why it makes like number one, number two on lists like this. It's phenomenal. The whole experience was phenomenal. Like I'm excited. I want to do the Highline Trail to the chalet. Yeah,
Yes.
we might not stay there, but we can get a snack there.
Yeah.
We can plan a way hike down to our car that the way we wanted to go if we did it right again. There's so much to Glacier. There's so much more that we want to see and do and experience that I'm just like, oh, you can spend a lifetime there.
You really could. Um, I, yeah, there, when it comes to Glacier, everyone's like, well, how many days should I spend in Glacier? Not enough.
Not enough.
It's hard. It's hard to get like if you're going to Glacier like one time, like it's hard to get like the real all of Glacier. Like it's just there's not enough time.
Well, and I think, that like when you talk about like Logan's Pass and the road it was and like the feat that it was too, you're right because it's so hard to get to some of those places. Like think of Hidden Lake, hiking down into Hidden Lake, how much of a bitch that was, and
Yeah.
hiking back out of that. Like to get to some of those lakes and some of those mountains and those places in Glacier is just really like hard. And to
Yeah.
do that and to see that, like, yeah, it is one of those like you can really just get lost and explore it and love it. I mean, that's why they call it the crown of the continent, right? It is special.
Yeah. It really is. And it's one of those where if you could spend four days in Glacier and you get back and you're like, man, we did this and this, and then you start your algorithm on Instagram changes and all of a sudden a bunch of Glacier pops up and you're like, I had no idea that was even in Glacier because of stuff that's popping up. And you're like, well, now I have to go back. And that happens every time I've gone to Glacier. And I've been fortunate enough to go I think 4 or 5 times.
It's up there. I mean, I like it. I like Glacier. It's a beautiful park. It's a great park. I mean, I have the Two Medicine, Rising Wolf and Cinepod. That's right directly where our family comes from, are those two people, those two mountains.
Hmm.
Um, it has special history in that sense. My grandpa's dad was born in a canyon somewhere just outside Glacier Park, in the hills. My grandpa was one of the first Native American horseback rangers in the park in the 60s. It was just there's a lot to it that I really like and enjoy. Um, there's a lot of stories. I was glad I was able to share that like Chief Mountain with you, taking you up there to show you the prayer bundles in the trees in the like to think like that road, like bro, like no one else is getting up there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, to get where we got, like there's some special places in that park for sure. And I was thinking about it earlier, and it, I almost want to go back to our Wandering Ways first days, our Quartz Lake days, that first trip to Glacier, and like I would love to just go back and to when we're sitting there by the lake that first night after that freaking first hike. Not even that first hike, but going down to the hidden lake on that first hike and just saying like, hey guys, like you're going to go here this many times, you're going to do all this in Glacier in the next freaking 5 6 years. You know what I mean? Like to
Yeah.
think like, wow, like I wouldn't have expected it at that time in my life for sure.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have either. It was a lot of memories in Glacier, for sure. A lot of great, fabulous memories, there, and that's why it's number two. It's a tough one. It's a tough park to beat. Not gonna lie.
It really is.
Um, but there was a park that beat it. There was a park that beat it.
This one's
Trended
this one,
upwards.
I think yeah, well my surprise. This is the one I was thinking was gonna be, like up there. I didn't realize it would climb all the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. I so spoiler, my number one. the stuff behind me. It's the redwoods. The redwoods, Redwoods National Park. It's my number one. It's just different. I still don't have good words to describe the park. When you're in amongst these trees doing their thing, there's a definite magic to it. There's an aura, there's an energy, there's just something about it that makes this park so unique and just special in that way. And so that's it's neck and neck with Glacier. It's a tough one, but there's just the redwoods have such a magic and just something special about them that gives them the nod for me.
Well, and you lived there.
Yeah, I think that helps with it.
You have that connection of being able to like see them on those, and not just like, I love like Matt. I lived in Montana, dude. You didn't even live there for summer. Like you lived there fall, winter, and spring. And then you got out. Like you lived there for how, what, 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, I was there for 3 years.
Right. So to really get there and experience it, so you have highs, you have lows, you have rainy days, you have sunny days, you have cold days, you have hot
I
days.
even have the rare snow days in the redwoods.
Exactly. So you were able to like really get that full experience of what that place and what that area of the world has to offer. And there's just certain places you do travel to and go to, even though they are remote, they are special in those ways. And like, go to Big Sky, Montana. People live there year round. Go to, Honolulu, Hawaii. People live there year round. There's different things to experience in those places. They're not just like those vacation destinations or those tourist destinations, right? So for them to really grow on you, yeah, for sure, I could see. And I thought, I was curious if the redwoods would move up, because honestly, when I was listening to our top five, I was surprised they were that there on your list. I mean, I guess looking at your old list with Jasper and Banff on there, yeah, because they you throw those two parks, like those are
Yeah.
goddamn like they're similar to Glacier in that way. That like
Yeah, the Banff and Jasper are very glacier-esque when it comes down to it. But
you
uh,
have a
you,
thing.
yeah, I have a theme this time: biodensity. A lot of biodensity and green. Two of my top three are very green areas and very wet areas.
No, they're great. Two of your top three, fucking three, four, Yellowstone and Glacier are wet too.
Yeah, well, they're wet in a different way. It's a different kind of wet.
In their way, in their good way.
Yeah, snow. They get a lot of snow. They don't get a lot of rain.
No, but they get that green in the spring.
They do. And there's great flowers in Glacier and Yellowstone.
Yeah. Well,
But
no
uh
surprise. No surprise to anybody. My number uno, my number one, Yellowstone. It
oh
was,
shoot, I thought it was gonna be Hawaii volcanoes.
that one, I thought about it because I was like, that would change it up, throw something on the list, change it up. And I was like, Hawaii volcanoes, like, it's one of those now. I'm not going back to the Big Island for the national park.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised that Yellowstone is your still your number one. I bet you all the wanderers listening are like, "Oh, I already know his number one."
Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of those parks that like it's the park I grew up in. It's the park that's closest to home. It's the park I spend the most time in. It's the park I proposed to Thea in. It's every time you go there, you have a different special encounter with an animal or something. Like with how many times I've gone, every trip is new and exciting, no matter how many times I've like done it. How many times I've used that, porta potty, or I've used that pit toilet, like pulled
yeah,
over and got out. Like you realize like I don't know. And then it's the people like to take someone there for their first time to Yellowstone. Oh, it's phenomenal. Like you get like you just the experience. Like, oh my God, the wow, whoa, what? And it's I don't know, I enjoy the shit out of it. I enjoy Yellowstone. I'm disappointed because I really wanted to go snowmobiling this year in Yellowstone and get go to Old Faithful that way. But I was talking to Thea and she was like, well, we can plan for it next year as like a plan. So that's cool. So I want to do that. And then this year, because hopefully the roads are all good to go and open, which they are. And I have been in the park since they've opened that new, so the old wagon road, right?
Hmm.
And when you drive it to get into Mammoth there, so like the how you like when you're at the bottom of Mammoth, you drive by all the buildings and then you hang a right to go down and exit out to Gardner.
Yeah.
So instead of going right, you go left right there. And that road turns into the old road that came up and it goes up a different way. And what's really cool, I mean, it's really steep and has some sharp corners because, wagons back in the day.
Yeah.
But interesting, it's where the bison all bed down in that area. So you just see like the way the hills are, all these bison are just like chilling and elk just chilling there. Because you see them in the area standing in the trees and bushes, but like no, I wonder if they did that to like move the cars and stuff away.
Probably.
But it's interesting. It's beautiful. I want to get into the park. I want to do the full park. I want to get over to the other side, especially with Jared, because I know he hasn't been over there.
Hmm.
And he's easy to get going to do things like that. So
Yeah,
and then
and he's the easy one to convince to go into that park because he lives even closer than you.
yeah, he lives what, 20 miles from
Yeah.
the border or from the gate.
Yeah.
They went and shot a bison that came out of the park, him and Colton.
Yeah, I saw that they had harvested a bison there.
Yeah, no, they right by Yellowstone Hot Springs of all places. So if you ever go, right there, right behind it, across the river, they ran into a fish and game guy. They were talking to him. They asked, "Yeah, is that state land? Can we take one of those?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're good to go." And apparently they got the bison. They went back. The game warden watched it for them. They went back, got the loader, loaded it up onto the truck, drove it back up to the shop, skinned it, gutted it, and then all that meat's going to go straight up to the Little Shell tribal people.
Nice. There you go. Some good subsistence hunting.
Yeah, Zen Colton. Colton, go get it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So we updated. It's been 2 years since we've done our top fives. Um, they've changed. Some have, some things have, some things haven't. That's what happens. Your top five, those things change, and that's fine. That's part of the thing about moving on. Nothing just stays. The only constant is change. Um, but maybe 2 years from now we'll do it again, and we'll see. Maybe there'll be some Iceland parks in there. So stay tuned. Go back, check out that old top five, listen to why we were thinking that way. It's spread across 2 episodes. It's the only top five that's spread across 2 different episodes. So that's a little treasure treat for the Wanderers back there at 19 and 20, early days of the podcast.
Jan 2021, January 2021. That is earlier because I think we launched August 2020.
We did August 2020. We had only been a thing for what, 4 months at that time.
20 weeks at that time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There you go. Uh, one doesn't need to put in months when you can just have the weeks. But we're gonna move on because it's that time. It's time for our final words, and so final words, my guy.
Well, you kind of hinted at it with going to Iceland here. And I don't know if I've dropped this yet or if you're unfamiliar or you're just tuning in for the first time and you had a good time. And I did order, in fact, I've been playing the eBay game and I bought a Canon 90D camera. So I upgraded the 70 to the 90 and get some good photos. And then I went out and got the long lens because supposedly there's a chance we can see puffins in Iceland, and I'm not gonna fuck that one up, as they say. So that's kind of, I mean, that's exciting. So we wanna get some good shots, some good photos, and enjoy our time while we're out there. I'm excited. I want to, Matt Buddy's coming out. Well, I'm going out to Oregon next week, and then Matt Buddy's coming out here. And we're going to go ice fishing for him for the first time. And if you get on the Wandering Ways YouTube or possibly the Rougarou YouTube, you'll be able to see the interview. I have an interview prepared with Matt Buddy ice fishing since it's his first time. So I have some questions for him, and then we'll get those answered in the ice hut. So stay tuned if you're interested in that saga. But Reverend, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Reverends, final words of wisdom. Stay beautiful, everybody. I can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you for listening all the way through. It really does mean a lot. Final words. I mean, just go out there, stay beautiful. I do have some exciting news. I'm working on my summer things to do in the summer. And I have signed up for a 50-mile bike race. So that's super exciting. It's in the early parts of July. So I have that is, and I'm hopefully going to lock in 2 other races this summer. I'm looking for a
There.
half marathon and I'm looking for a triathlon to do. The bike race is in Prineville, Oregon. So kind of more of that central, just works out. It's a really good time to
Yeah.
do it. I'm probably going to get my ass kicked because while I am a good biker or cycler, and I'm a good cycler in terms of triathletes, but compared to people that ride as their sport, holy shit. But that's part of it. Also, other thing, I have been flirting with the idea of getting a new camera. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on it, but I have flirted with the idea. So who knows? Maybe that will be in the future. But with that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.